We often call them snowbirds, seniors who like to escape to warmer weather and cheaper property taxes in other states as they age. Well, there's a tax relief program in New Jersey called Stay NJ that's meant to help keep those seniors in their homes in the state. But how do you know if you qualify, and what steps do you need to take to apply? Our budget and finance writer, John Reitmeyer, has the answers as part of our Under the Dome series. John, so great to talk to you. First, let's just start with who does qualify for the Stay NJ program.
Well, you have to have, it's great to be with you as well. You have to have a primary residence in New Jersey, and you have to be 65 and older, and you also have to earn up to $500,000 in annual income. And so if you meet those eligibility requirements, there are some other technicalities, but generally it would be in your interest to fill out an application for the next round of these benefits, again, which are called Stay NJ.
The amount that you can qualify for depends on a number of other factors, right, including what other state aid you receive. So how do you know, how can someone calculate that, and how do they know how much they can qualify for?
Yeah, it's a good question. And although this all seems a little complicated, and it is, it's probably worth your time because you can get a decent amount of money back for a number of the people who are eligible. And so there are two other programs. One of them is called Senior Freeze, and the other is called Anchor, that the state administers for property tax relief. And what this Stay NJ program does is, the promise is that it can cut your property tax bill, your annual bill, in half. Now, there are a few caveats to that, because the limit on the bill is even if your bill's above $13,000 and the average bill in New Jersey is over $10,500, even if your bill's over $13,000, that's the most you'll get a benefit calculated off of, in terms of using that as the basis. And then in turn, the maximum amount you could get back would be $6,500. So still pretty big numbers relative to what a lot of seniors pay in property taxes in New Jersey. And then they'll look at whether you're eligible for the other two programs, Anchor and Senior Freeze, and how much you get back from those programs already. And if you're not already getting half of your property tax bill cut in half from Senior and Anchor, then you can get that amount back from Stay NJ in quarterly installments, so a little different process than what the other programs use.
Yeah.
And subject to those caps that I previously brought up.
So if you're a senior and you want to apply, is there an order in which you should apply? Do you start with Anchor? Do you start with Stay NJ? Does it matter?
So the one thing that started last year and is again going to be the case is there's a combined application now. So it used to be that you would have to apply individually for different programs. And a lot of seniors complained because the applications were different, the timing was different, the questions were confusing. There was an effort under former Governor Phil Murphy and lawmakers to consolidate all of this and hopefully make it a little bit more easy to understand for applicants. And so now there's a form, it's called PAS-1, and what you can do is fill that application out, and it basically applies you for all three of the programs if you're eligible. So you'll fill out one application, and those applications are being distributed right now, or they're also available online. You fill out one application, and then it will determine if you're eligible for any of the three programs or for all of the three programs. That will all depend on where you live, how much you earn, and some of the other technical factors.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Republicans have been critical of some of these property tax rebate programs because they say there needs to be an overhaul of the system completely. And so we shouldn't be giving this, quote unquote, relief on the back end. I know this is a big question, but given how much the state is giving out in property tax relief, does it make sense to just cut it off of the front end rather than do this pay it and we pay you back type of program?
Well, the answer to that question is the property taxes are levied at the local level in New Jersey. And so these are bills that you're submitting to pay for local services like K through 12 public schools, police departments, and and fire departments, people who who plow the snow from your roads in the wintertime. All of these are local services. The state takes money that's collected from income taxes and creates programs and funds different, essentially rebates to individual qualified taxpayers to sort of offset that local burden. Now, the state could give more money directly to school districts, which it's been trying to do more of in recent years,
and we know that
more money.
We know school districts take up 60% usually on average of those property taxes, right?
Yeah, it depends on the individual, but it's generally more than 50% of the average bill in New Jersey, which now totals $10,570, generally goes to your K through 12 public school, although it depends on the taxpayer and the town for the specific amount. But the state's been trying to get more money to schools, not so much to municipalities and county governments, which are also the spending that they do on an annual basis is also accounted for in your local property tax bill. So it's a little bit difficult for the state to come in and directly offset costs because each municipality, and we have hundreds of them in New Jersey, has different levels of services.
Right.
Some do trash pickup, some don't, and so this is
Some share services, some don't.
Correct. This is the system that's been created to sort of offset our very high property tax bills in New Jersey. Certainly, there are arguments to be made about finding ways to lower those bills themselves, which do form the basis for a lot of these relief programs. Yeah. But that's a whole other conversation because that goes into we have a lot of municipalities and school districts, they could consolidate. And it becomes a much more complicated conversation for sure.
Well, Governor Sherrill did say when she was on the campaign trail that consolidating services was going to be a priority for her. Let me ask you this in the short time that we have left. She has a new acting treasurer, Aaron Binder, who came in and said, look, we are dealing with a deficit in the billions. Do you anticipate that Governor Sherrill is going to have to take out that red pen and start slashing services and programs that the state is offering right now to get out of that deficit?
There's certainly been talk about spending cuts, and I don't think that the new governor is very interested in tax increases. There is a gap. We don't have a deficit in New Jersey because there's a really robust budget surplus right now of nearly $7 billion. That said, the state collects about $1 billion less than it's currently spending. And so they've been dipping in recent years to the surplus and other sources of funding to bridge that gap. But those types of options are becoming much more limited, which is why we've started to hear talk about spending cuts when it comes to the next budget that's going to be up for discussion in really just a matter of weeks now.
Yeah, we are going to be talking all about the budget, I'm sure, as we get closer to that early March date. But John Reitmeyer, thank you so much for the insight.
You're welcome.